This is, you know, if we want to alleviate, eradicate hunger as it affects the children of Maryland, where do you go? You go to the schools. So MSD, Dr. Grasmick, very important partner in this effort. And again, Principal Moore, thank you and your students and faculty and staff here at Highlandtown Elementary Middle, our kind hosts this afternoon. We are here today because we believe that it is within our power, that it is within our capacity, within our compassion, and also is in our best interest as Marylanders to eliminate childhood hunger. And we are announcing today our plan and our goal of eliminating childhood hunger in the state of Maryland in the next 5 years. We'll establish ourselves as the very first state in the United States of America to do so, and really is a continuation of the great legacy that we have as citizens of Baltimore, as citizens of Maryland, and that is to step up and to lead, especially in times of great adversity, and to do so in ways that rally all the other states to follow our leadership, and thereby not only make our own city and our own state a better place, but really make our country a better place. And when we make our country stronger, we like to believe that also makes our world stronger, right? And more compassionate, and a better place, the sort of place that God wants for us to make it. So it's been our history, and this happens, you know, as I said, you know, as I've tried to say again and again over these last several difficult months, tough times don't last, but tough people do. And we are tough people, and we are also people who have our eyes on the horizon, who understand that we have a responsibility and the freedom to make progress. So we're going to get through these tough times together, and we're going to do it based on the beliefs that we share. A belief in the dignity of every individual, a belief in our own responsibility to advance the common good, and an understanding that there is a unity to spirit and matter, and that what we do in our own lifetimes does matter. And in our country, there's no such thing as a spare American. And we mean to make that belief real here in Baltimore and in Maryland. We also believe that there are certain aspirations that all of humanity shares for their children, regardless of their parents' party affiliation or income. We believe every child deserves a healthy start. Every child deserves a decent education. Every child deserves a decent home, a place to play where they don't have to dodge bullets or hypodermic needles. These are things that we aspire to as a free and civilized people. And tragically, there are more, according to Share Our Strength, there are more than 184,000 children in our state of Maryland who in some way or another are afflicted by hunger, by a lack of food, by a lack of proper nutrition. We did some really good work here in the city of Baltimore years ago in expanding the availability of the school breakfast program. Now, we still can't fire off the confetti cannon because even though those school breakfasts are available, not as many of our children participate as we would like. But we know there's things like offering the breakfast in the classroom and doing other things that can help us get those percentages up. And I don't believe that it's at all coincidental. In fact, I think it's causal. That is, we started to offer more school breakfast programs in Baltimore City schools, and yes, more investment and full-day kindergarten, and actually more art and music classes. We saw your test scores go up in reading and math. It's a lot easier to learn if you're not hungry, right? Yes. It's a lot easier to learn if you have a good breakfast, if you have a good lunch, if your stomach's not growling and pestering you, your brain can actually think, right? Yes. So we are announcing today that together with Share Our Strength, we have launched the Partnership to End Childhood Hunger in Maryland. And we have tasked this partnership with developing that 5-year plan to end childhood hunger in our state. During the initial stages of our efforts, we're focusing on increasing enrollments in 4 federally funded programs in the upcoming year. Note, I say federally funded. I'll be darned. You mean there's already federal funds for these things? Yes, there are. And we need to take advantage of those. We need to come together in one cohesive, comprehensive strategy to make sure that we put all of the pieces together so that we can eradicate childhood hunger in Maryland in the course of the next 5 years. By number 1, the school food and nutrition program, which we are seeking to offer to an additional 65,000 students statewide in this first year. So there's a measurable goal and an outcome. We've got to shoot to enroll another 65,000 children. Number 2, the summer food service program, where we would like to increase enrollment by 49,000 in this upcoming year. Number 3, the Child and Adult Care Food Program, where we are going to shoot to increase the number of centers from 564 centers statewide to 677, and will no doubt need partners throughout our state and from the faith communities in order to help us get there. Number 4, the Food Supplement Program, or what used to be known as, and it's still frequently referred to as the Food Stamp Program. And we are going to shoot to increase household enrollment by 15%. So those are the 4 steps. Those are the 4 goals. Those are the 4 action items. We're not going to get there by any one of us doing things individually. The only way we're going to get there is if we work and hold one another accountable to the metrics and the goals and the quarterly numbers, the weekly numbers, the performance measurements that allow us to see whether or not we are in fact putting one foot in front of the other and getting to that goal. So taken together, these increases would yield an additional $21 million in federal funding that's already sitting there available, that's already sitting there waiting to be tapped to attack and eradicate childhood hunger in Maryland. There would be $21 million in federal funding for Maryland to help our children learn and to be able, after they learn, then be able to earn, because how much you learn and how far you go in school has a definite impact, right, on what sort of career you can go into. And it's also important to do right now, especially as so many families are feeling the pinch of that downward economy. Sure, you hear your parents and your grandparents always worrying about how we're going to pay the bills, how we're going to keep body and soul together, how we're going to keep the BGE on, right? Yeah. So in these tough times, this is something very, very important to do, not just for the here and now, but also for our long-term future. The partnership is going to be led by Share Our Strength in partnership with our own Office for Children, which will include representatives from across our state government, along with the United States Department of Agriculture. Have they announced that, Secretary, yet? No? No. Okay. Along with, and there still will be one, the United States Department of Agriculture, the Maryland Food Bank. Raise your hand if I call out your name here. The Advocates for Children and Youth, the Maryland Hunger Solutions, and the Food and Research Action Center. That's the one long title for you. No? Okay. Well, this is the group that's going to be charged with continuing to develop our 5-year plan, implementing the strategies for increasing enrollments across these 4 programs, these 4 efforts. And the progress that we're seeking on childhood hunger is part of broader efforts to protect our children and to give them a brighter future. Working together, we have been able to expand in our state healthcare coverage for children, including a dental benefit for the first time ever in Maryland for poor children, like that little boy. You remember reading about that little boy who died because he couldn't get a toothache addressed? Well, the adults have come together so that a little boy like the Monte driver never has to die again because he can't go to a dentist. So what's more, together we've invested, as Mr. Moore mentioned, $5.3 billion in K-12 education, and about $741 million, which is about a 300% increase in school construction and renovations. City of Baltimore's homicide number is actually down at a record number this year. We're down 23% in the City of Baltimore, leading the way in a 14% reduction statewide. That number also applies to juvenile deaths. So we still have a long way to go, but working together we're making progress. And working together we're going to continue to make progress. And the goal we announced today is an important goal. If there's ever a state that has it within its grasp to eradicate childhood hunger, it is our state. And there is no more important time or more urgent time to do it than now. And God wants every partial victory. Let me turn it over now to